Hi, everyone, and welcome to this wonderful day. You may have been shopping, doing some gardening, some extra work around the home, or simply relaxing from a full day's work. Well, you have done well. We want to encourage you today to join us on an interesting conversation as we discuss life skills. Yes, skills for life and living. Today, as we embrace these concepts, we want to encourage you to gather your family around the television. This is Choices.
Good evening. This evening we want to continue our discussion on life skills. And from the inception, we would like to identify some key and critical skills that are necessary for the well-being and the promotion of individuals. One skill that we need to look at is the skill of negotiation. Sometimes you don't get everything that you want at a particular time, but through negotiation, we can arrive at a position that might be convenient to us until we get where we really want to go. So that's a skill that we need in life, to negotiate. And the whole notion of time management, time is limited, and therefore we must develop, the skill in terms of managing our time, because if we're going to achieve things, we can't be timing all day. We have to utilize our time purposefully. Then there is organizing, skills in organizing, how you put things together, even your whole life, how you organize your life. And then there's a big one, decision making. And that's a skill that we really need to see developing, particularly in the lives of our young people. I'll put a simple example. For example, choosing a spouse. It can't be reduced to boyfriend and girlfriend, and then you get pregnant and you make a baby, and then you're set back. So even in choosing a spouse, yes, that's a decision, a key and critical decision that you have to make in your life, and that's a skill that we need, because if we don't, our lives could be set back because of poor decisions. Then there's the whole concept of conflict resolution. We can't be fighting all the time. We must master some skills that will help to reduce conflicts so our lives could be progressive. We can't be in a mode of fighting all the time, conflict resolution and problem solving. And then the whole issue of stress management. We live in a world where there are issues and situations that will affect us, but how do we deal with stress? How do we deal with adverse circumstances? Not by suicide and killing oneself and injuring yourself and so on. So these are some of the skills that we want to speak to as we continue to discuss the whole notion of life skills. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Reverend. You did an excellent job in introducing this program, and you made me feel very appreciative of my own life and the value the fact that I have breath and I have health. Sometimes, you take those things for granted, but without breath, without life, without health, sometimes you really don't have the privilege of enjoying all that life has to offer. So today, why not pause for a moment and give God thanks and praise for breath and life, for health, for just to being alive, just to be able to live is a privilege, is a blessing. And as I heard you talk about life skills here just now, I couldn't help but pause and say, God, I want to thank you. I really want to thank you. But life goes beyond just having breath and life and having health to live. If you don't have certain kind of skills, you are not really going to succeed, and you're going to make a mess. And I remember as we begin this discussion, I remember Proverbs, the writer of Proverbs, Solomon. He was making some very serious observations. He said, better is a poor man who lives with integrity than someone who has deceitful lips and is a fool. Better is someone who has integrity than someone who is deceitful and he can't think he's a fool. And he's actually making the observation that, you need to be able to think. Some people call it common sense, you're able to, you must be able to make proper judgments. And I'm not quite sure common sense is really common, but the brothers will help me, He said, evil zeal is not good without knowledge, so you could be very enthusiastic, and if you don't have knowledge, you'll find yourself in trouble. Again, he's teaching life skills. He said, and the one who acts hastily sins. People, sometimes, we're very energetic. My mother used to say, don't be wild, boy, or don't be wild, girl. Cool down, slow down. That's what Proverbs Solomon was saying. Sometimes when we are so hasty in our judgment, in our action, we make a mess of life. And so, life skills, do we need them? And what are the skills, some of the skills we really need to survive and to live and to enjoy this life? Brothers.
Pastor Hudson, I want to reflect on something you said in your introduction. You made reference to the fact of choosing a life partner. And that comes second to the greatest decision anyone can make in life, which is what you will do with Jesus. You see, you can earn a lot of money, you can have a good home, you can have a beautiful vehicle, but when you choose the wrong person to share all the achievement with, your life can be miserable. Many of the social ills that we experience in our world today is hinged on the fact that persons have made a wrong decision as it relates to a life partner. And so, negotiating that aspect of life, choosing someone who you would spend the rest of your life with, is very critical to how we would be able to be productive, how we would be able to raise our families.
But someone asks, how you do that? What you teach? You have your young son, you have your young daughter. What exactly you tell them? Because it's decision making. I mean, if it goes beyond just selecting a partner. It is your ability to make decisions for life. But it is a skill. How do you do that?
I think the discussion is a key and critical discussion, as Minister Wesley is attempting to advocate. And the thing is, there are things that you should be able to look for. Of course, we know that God centrally could guide you and so on, but that does not negate the fact that He has given us wisdom also, and things that we could look for. For example, if your daughter is going on a date, your daughter or your son has to be taught that dating has nothing to do with sex, for example, because we're talking about how when you're on a date, what you're looking for values, you're looking for characteristics, you're looking for behavior patterns in the person. You can't go into the bed and then make children and then you realize that you're not compatible. So we have to say, look, on a date, you're looking for certain things. Another how, you have to visit families, see how the families live, how the person that you intend to live with, what is the orientation of the family, what are the values, what they believe in, what are their views on certain issues and so on. So there are many things that you can look for, but basically there are some key things. So it's not about sex and being wrapped up, because you don't get a time to see person really, and then you have other stages. You have going steady. At some point in time, you can't be dating everybody for the rest of your life, and so and then there's this whole thing about engagement and marking. Why would you want to have sex and somebody doesn't want to put an engagement ring on you or to marry you at some point in time? So those are some of the things that we have to teach our children. If I can help the brother with the response.
I think we need to also share with them respect for the other person. Because if you're going to engage, if you're going to start a relationship, if you're going to share knowledge, whatever you need to do with an individual, you must respect them. they have a view too, and your views are not always right. There's the other person's view, because the perspective that they might have as you bring it to the table, it's a skill that you have to learn. And you mentioned, Reverend Hudson, negotiating. If you don't know how to negotiate your shortcomings, you get vexed. And when you get vexed, that in itself calls for conflict resolution. And when you get to conflict resolution, somebody says, me want nothing to do with you, I gone. So that is fellowship. You gotta learn these things, and these things take time, and you can't rush through them because they're life skills.
Pastor Jack, I just want to, because this is very big topic, right? For example, Minister Wesley, if you're in a relationship and the person, this thing has not developed into marriage and all that yet, and you get a slap, you hear, get from here, your dog, and all of these things, these are warning signs, so we have to teach, those things.
But well, decision making, we're talking about choosing partner, talking probably jobs and all of that. But there's a basic template that needs to be applied as we train children. The whole issue about setting priorities,
Correct.
the whole issue about setting values. Because from that, once you have that correct template in place, then all other decisions will hinge on it.
Yeah.
The correctness in choosing a spouse and all. And you mentioned that looking for things, characteristics, looking for values, looking for orientation and all of that. But oftentimes we find that persons rush to make decisions without examining consequences that can follow from making decisions. So, for example, if you go to the child, let's go to a little child. What about having the opportunity to go to school and probably to buy a textbook as opposed to spending money to buying a brand name product? Now, oftentimes, if you don't teach, a child may want to buy a brand name product simply because his or her friend has it. But the correct decision would be to go after buying a proper textbook or some book, because what? That has a longer lasting value than buying a product that would last just a short time. So it goes to establishing a correct template from the beginning, so all other decisions would emanate from a correct template that is placed in the life of the child.
I would hope that all our listeners, none of you will get frustrated and say, like, these brothers are talking to perfect people. We know they have you out there, and lots of times you come up and hearing a lot of nonsense. One young man that I met in the center in the Essequibo, he said he learned that school is for fools and books are for crooks. So he has no value for books or anything like that. What we are doing here, we are trying to encourage you, all of you, even the man who said war when the brothers are dating got nothing to do with sex. Because for many people, the ultimate purpose of going on a date is to get a good, you understand what I mean, whatever you call it. Some people call it sex, some people call it screwing, some people call it all kind of fling, But all of those things will not get you anywhere in the long run. That's why, as Pastor Lee says, we have to inculcate values.
Yeah. Skills.
And then we understand where these necessary skills will take us in a pathway to a sound future.
Thank you, Pastor David, for that kind of clarity, because we are teaching and talking about life skills, and sometimes we get the impression that making judgments and decisions is only done at the level of your emotions or the level of your feeling, which is among the lowest level of decision making. And if you and I build our life only on just the inputs, just on how good it feels, many times our decisions are going to be very poor. For much of our lives, we're going to cry over the judgments and decisions we have made. And what we are actually saying is that we need to teach. to our children, teach our own selves how it is, or how beneficial it is to defer gratification, for example, how beneficial it is to make judgments that are more logical than emotional. But someone say, but Pastor, this is how I feel. Fine. But how do you know that your feeling is right? It's just your feeling. And what is amazing, feelings don't last. So it is here today and then there tomorrow. So what a confusing life to live. Here, Solomon said, I want to read another instruction he was giving. Here he said, a man's own foolishness leads him astray. His own stupidness, leads him astray. Yet, in his heart, he rages against God. When he gets himself into trouble here, he says, "Is God that make me get here?" So it is important as we teach decision making, and how important it is, because for the rest of our lives we're going to be making decisions. How valuable it is to be taught the skill of making decisions. Pastor David, allow me to make reference to you. I hope you talk about it. I heard you recently, you was making observation that your son was taken by, I think, school or somewhere into someplace, and they gave him resources, and he had to make decisions about what to shop, where to go, those kinds of things. In essence, what they were actually doing is teaching life skills, teaching decision making, teaching being able to make proper judgments to 11-year-old. I hope you can tell us about it, because I don't really know it, but I want to emphasize how valuable it is to teach decision making.
Well, a simple role play, because he became 28, and some of us, our problems confront us at different stages in our lives, and we have to make decisions. And he was allowed to make decision to balance himself after going through lots of difficulties in life. I don't concern where you are at this point. If you can balance yourself, that was a role play that he was playing. But if you can come to the understanding of where you are now and make quality decisions, then your life can take off from the very spot that you are, from the very difficult position you are in. Skills can take you to another level, another pathway of rehabilitation.
I
believe that is
I was
so.
listening to a program on the radio where they are emphasizing the value and the importance of breastfeeding. Pastor Msang, your son is 11, and I think he played the role of a 28-year-old. Good. Let me go back to breastfeeding. They're saying that breastfeeding is important because for the first 6 months of the child, it helps to provide protection against sicknesses, diseases. Also, critically, it provides bonding at an early stage with the child and the mother. Okay? And also, it provides the basic nutrients for the food at that stage in life. Now, with decision making, oftentimes we feel that you make a decision when a situation arises, but that is not the case. It needs to start early in life.
Yeah.
So you don't make decision concerning who you'll get married to when did the time reach to get married, but all along life you were being taught simple things and you build on it. It's like our ABC, we form words based on the fact that we were taught the alphabet.
Yeah.
Okay, and we are taught simple syntax so that we can write correctly or write correct sentences. So the point we're making here is that simple decisions along the way, choosing right from wrong, time management. How do you don't plan to go somewhere at 8 o'clock and you leave home at 8 o'clock.
All right.
Okay, those are simple things that we need to teach along the way. So when the big and the huge decisions come, we would have been exposed to making simple decisions before, so we apply those same principles when we're about to make those
I agree.
decisions.
I so agree with you. Growing up, I wasn't taught certain life skills. But I'm saying to you, even at this point in your life, you're privileged today to look at choices. and it is teaching you the necessity to adapt yourself to these life skills because it helps you in the future. And even at my age, I am still learning to adapt. I'm still learning how to make right decisions. So don't look at your age at this time. Don't look at where you are right now. If you are determined in your life to take off, you could learn from today so that you will be able to make decisions that will benefit you down the line.
Look at two of them, time management and decision making. Basically, you made mention of them. You might have been qualified, university trained, looking for your A job, then got it. But you have not mastered the art or the skill of time management. So you end up you have a good job, but you struggle to get there on time. You know, if it is really a good job, before long they'll send you home. And even though it was the dream job you're looking for, you're still looking for a job. So when mommy said to you, you know, or daddy said to you, boy, you gotta get to school on time, or girl, get to church on time, or you have that appointment, you believe as if somebody's trying to strangle you, but what is being taught is life skills.
Yeah.
You know, I know of a case where a friend was put under pressure, and there are people who sometimes put you under pressure because they really don't like you. And you don't even know how to manage your anger, and you tell people this is how you stay, and you got a right to tell anybody whatever you feel like. So they put her under pressure, and before long they give her an opportunity, give him the opportunity rather to say just how you feel about this place. You know what he did? He almost cussed out of them out. And when he done this, send you home. Why? Because he has not managed the skill of learning how to control his anger. And I believe at home and in our classroom and in our church environment, they are the environments where you learn and you practice those kinds of skills. And don't think it a folly that you call back a child and say, hey, we do it this way. Oh, no, this is not how we do it. Say it differently. Why? Because it is skills that if you don't have, you're not going to be successful.
Viewers, I notice you are making, I believe that you are listening very intently and, you know, perhaps making notes. But I want to encourage you to develop routine. This is going to help you. There are many of us, you know, when we do things, we do right things. But the problem is, we do not do right things consistently. So let me encourage you to, you know, make some notes and decipher, you know, the right things that you do in your life, and then begin to do them consistently, and you're on the way to success.
You know, Pastor David, you just raised an important point there. You know, we are familiar with the phrase, practice makes perfect. And so we have to be deliberate as we teach over and over these life skills, and then we demonstrate to our children. We have to use and create teachable moments and allow these practices to be a part of our daily lives, because we're talking about life skills. These skills will be with us not only for the now, but for the long haul. So we have to be intentional. We have to go again, we make mistakes, we have to correct ourselves and practice, do the right thing. And I believe from that standpoint, we will be good examples and people will emulate us.
You know, I think an important life skill that we are really losing, a simple one, manners. Now, a lot of how persons perceive us comes down to the impression, the first impression they get from us. And some of us, we may be talented, we may be brilliant persons, but we seem not to be getting anywhere sometimes it just comes down to our whole approach.
Yeah.
We're very crude.
I teach you.
We're very surly in our behavior, our response. We don't want to say good day, good afternoon, no thank you. We answer the telephone, we're very gruff. If we're having a bad day, it comes out in our voice. Now, manners make it man, as they say. Now, a lot of persons, sometimes the reason why you're not getting anywhere is because people are shunning you because you are considered to be a very unmannerly person. Nobody wants to be around you. So for me, that's a very, very, it's not like, well, this is how I steer. That's what I think somebody said that. You have to, people like to be around persons who are well behaved.
Yeah.
Right? So I think manners is a very, very important life skill that we really need to get back.
But driving on the roadway, one of the 5 C's is courtesy, right? And we talking manners here, we don't see that being displayed as we drive on the roadway. We see a lot of road rage, so we got to get back to that place where people are taught, even from a tender age, the importance of how to relate with other persons, even when you're angry. Even those persons might do things to offend you in some way, you got to be able to control your anger and be courteous towards people. Right? You're a taxi driver, you know how you behave on the road and so on.
Well, I hope that he is not managing. But we seem to want to develop as Guyanese a very unmannerly, indisciplined culture, which is a very selfish culture. The Creoles say dog eat dog. You just eat up each other, beat up each other. You're not going to survive because we need each other in this environment. And so I pray that as we consider these issues, we're going to find a place to fill the gaps. I've done some work in remedial education, and I have found that there are adults who, for some reason or the other, major disappointment, does not acquire the correct proficiency to be able to acquire certificates. And to do that repair, you have to fill the gaps in their lives. And that is exactly what we are trying to do in this program. Fill those gaps. Mommy might not have been there, daddy might not have been there, nobody might have even had the chance to teach you. But God is giving you this opportunity right now to fill those gaps. Solomon said in Proverbs 19:20, listen to the counsel and receive instruction so that you may be wise in later life. May God richly bless you. This is choices. Your whole life is a sum total of your choices. God bless you.
We thank you for joining us this evening. We want to remind you to join us for our special services at First Assembly. I'm Celicia on behalf of the set, reminding you that your whole life is the sum of your choices. God bless you.